The chips, the buns, the marinades. Summer cookouts can often feel like a gluten-filled landmine. If you're already dreading them, you are not alone. The good news is you don't have to ruin your summer because of gluten. Let's talk about it inside of this video. Walking into a cookout is scary when you're new to the gluten-free lifestyle. You're not used to asking to check the ingredient labels on every single thing being served. You're not used to having those tough conversations, and it is a table full of food that is filled with gluten that you just really want to eat. Am I right? Even if you're experienced in the gluten-free diet, a summer cookout can bring a lot of stress because you know that there's some conversations that you just don't want to have from people who haven't supported your gluten-free diet in the past. Give this video a like if you are worried about summer cookouts. Inside of this video, I'm going to give you all of my tips to handling summer cookouts in a way that helps you maintain your gluten-free diet without being overwhelmed. The easiest thing you can do to ensure you have something safe to eat at a summer cookout or party is to bring your own dish. Bring a side dish or even a main dish, something to share with the group that is going to be gluten-free and safe for you to eat, but also is something that other people might enjoy. They might begin to realize that the gluten-free diet doesn't suck as much as it seems like it might. One thing I do suggest to anybody who is taking this approach is to set aside a little container of the food before you go to the party, so you ensure that that dish is completely safe from cross-contamination when you are eating it. Yet when you're sitting at a table with other people, it's the same food on your plate as exactly what they're eating, and you can have a great conversation about how good it is, and it's gluten-free. Don't hesitate to ask the host or whoever is bringing food for the ingredients inside. Sauces, spices, rubs, marinades, chips, dips. All of those things are potential sources of gluten, and if you don't have access to the ingredient label sitting out on the table, don't hesitate to ask the host. So you can scan it with your favorite gluten-free scanning app, or just read through the label and see if there's anything that stands out that potentially will result in you getting glutened. Inside of my ebook, Going Gluten-Free Summer Cookouts, we talk about all of the places where gluten might be hiding when you are at a summer cookout. Some of those places are unexpected, but I also tell you what to do about it and how to avoid it. Something to keep an eye out at a summer cookout is the grill. It is a common centerpiece of cooking food, and it is a place that is often serving food left and right. You know, burgers, brats, hot dogs, all of those things coming straight off the grill, going into the kitchen, and everybody consuming them. While technically speaking, a hamburger shouldn't have any form of gluten in it, that doesn't mean that it is safe to eat. Comment grilling below if you didn't realize that the grill may or may not be a safe space to eat gluten-free food from. The grill and the grates on the grill are one of those things that don't necessarily get a good deep clean after every use. Yes, a grill brush will take everything off the top of the grill, but that doesn't mean that it's removing every single crumb of gluten that could be left behind from a seasoning or a marinade. When you are going to a cookout, bring a grill mat or ask that your food be cooked separately on a piece of aluminum foil so you can ensure that there is no possibility of cross-contamination on those grill grates from something that might have been cooked another time on that grill. Just because it's gluten-free today doesn't mean it was gluten-free food cooked on it last week. Making these kinds of requests do not make you a difficult person. Yes, there are going to be comments. There are going to be people who have opinions about your gluten-free diet. And in the next video, we're going to handle everything you need to know about having those hard conversations. But something you really need to keep in mind is that you are somebody who is doing this for your health. Gluten is something that causes problems for your health. It can make you physically sick. And depending on whether you have celiac disease, you're gluten intolerant, severely gluten sensitive, the tiniest crumb of gluten could be a really, really big deal for you. So it does not make you a difficult person to ask these questions or to make these requests. If somebody has a problem with it, then it is likely not a safe place for you to be eating from, and bringing your own food in a separate container is probably the best way to handle it. Another area to keep your eye out on is the utensils being used. Think about it. When you're at an event and something is being served in a buffet, spoons can be dipped from one thing to another. Now, that's not uncommon, but one thing I would suggest is that you have a utensil that is labeled gluten-free that goes on the dish that you brought. Ensure that that utensil stays with that dish and that that dish is labeled gluten-free, so there is less of a chance of somebody accidentally using it in a pasta salad that is filled with gluten. Besides utensils at a buffet, the other thing to watch out for is little fingers. And I am talking about kids who are notorious for grabbing something from one plate, grabbing something from another plate, and then putting them back, not always on the right plates. Watch out for little kids' fingers, and if it is something that you see as possibly happen, ask for a separate gluten-free station. If there are certain dishes that will be gluten-free, maybe move them to the kitchen or in another area where it is less of a chance of kids accidentally causing cross-contamination. If a separate gluten-free section isn't an option, don't be afraid to set yourself aside a plate of food as soon as you get to the party. Before you know that spoons are dipped in different places, before kids get a chance to move things away. Fill a plate, set it aside. You don't have to be the first one to eat, but just tell the host, hey, I'm gluten-free. The littlest crumb of gluten could cause a severe reaction for me. Do you mind if I set a plate of food aside to ensure that my food stays safe? Because I really do want to try all of these wonderful gluten-free things you've made. Most importantly, at these parties, focus on the fun, not the food. Food is only one piece of a summer cookout or a summer party. You are there likely to socialize, to celebrate, to enjoy time with family and friends. Food is just one part of that. There are so many ways to go into a cookout and ensure that you have something safe to eat while not distracting from the fact that you are enjoying a day with people you love and care about. If this video made you a little bit more ready to take on summer, stick around for the next video where we talk about having those hard conversations. Whether it's a family, a friend who means well, or a host who just doesn't get it. We'll talk about having those hard conversations without making it awkward.